This is a Rogue Media Network podcast. This is Central Texas Life with Ann Harder.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Central Texas Life. And I've got a couple of lovelies here in the podcast studio with me, driven all the way up from Southeast Texas.
Yes.
To come and be with us.
We're excited to be here.
Mandy Salisbury, thank you, and Anita Tisdale.
Yes.
And I mean that's a long drive, but we welcome you to Waco.
Yes, we're happy to be here again. We are not strangers to Waco.
And I have family here as well.
Oh, do you? Good.
This feels like a second home.
Good. Okay. Well, awesome. And so your drive was fine. I hope
it was wonderful.
Yeah.
Yes.
You never know.
Yeah.
With driving,
The blue
especially.
bonnets are out. We were happy we got to see
I
those
know.
today.
Are
Yes,
they
it was
good down in Southeast
beautiful.
Texas?
Well,
Because they're
just as long when we started coming up this way is where you really started to notice it on Highway 6.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well,
Yeah. Oh my gosh, just fields of these beautiful yellow flowers with cows grazing. I mean, it couldn't be more beautiful right now.
well, growing things is kind of what sparked all this, and that is that you are involved with a vineyard.
Yes. Yeah.
So, and I want to start off with what I saw on your website for Salisbury Vineyard.
Yeah.
It says she sets her heart upon a field
Yes.
and takes it as her own. With the fruit of her hands, she plants a vineyard. That's Proverbs 31:16. Of course, the
Yes.
Proverbs 31 woman.
Yes.
And we have a mutual friend who kind of introduced us.
Yeah.
And she said, you know, your story is just so compelling. And so, first of all, thank you so much for coming up
Yeah,
to Waco to visit with
absolutely.
us on this.
Yeah.
So tell me about the vineyard. Tell me about.
Yeah. You know, Sarah was not able to be here with us today, but she's kind of our third part in
Three chord strand, as they say.
Yeah.
three chord strand, and so we're all very good friends. We met in church, and at that time, Anita was a worship leader, and I was back and forth all over the country as a recovering healthcare executive. And Sarah, who's not with us today, is an architect, and she's doing Terminal D right now at IAH. And so
Aviation architecture.
she's
Which is really unique.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. So Sarah came for a visit to my family's farm. It's where I grew up. It's 130 acres. It's nestled in Kentucky. And she said, "What are you going to do with all this land?"
Yeah.
And my mom is a widow. And
Now, your dad died when you were young.
yeah,
right?
Dad died when I was young, and we, just have this story of kind of surviving and taking care of this land and not really knowing what to do. And so Sarah came and asked us that question, and that question really changed the trajectory for me. And I really went before the Lord, and I said, "Okay, Lord, I mean, I've been asked a question here." And shortly after that, after really seeking him, he gave me that scripture. And he said, "You're going to plant a vineyard."
Oh, my.
And so that's really what started it.
Yeah. So how long ago was that?
3 years.
Oh, so this is a very recent
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah, so my mom acquired the land by sort of her own revelation from the Lord, and had really been asking him for years. There's a scripture in Deuteronomy that says, "You will bless me in my field."
And that was before your dad passed.
That was before my dad. Yeah, they bought it together.
And they were kind of hands-on,
yeah,
building the
yeah,
house and
yeah,
everything
Yeah,
together.
my dad even harvested the poplar trees from
Yeah.
the land and built a log home. It's
Aw.
about 2,500 square feet. Beautiful, log home that my mom still lives in. And he built that with his own hands. So
But he'd never mentioned, oh, I think this should be a vineyard.
No.
Yeah, it was-
no.
yeah.
Just worked the land. We had some crops, we had animals, just horses, and
farmer,
the
yeah.
typical
And
farm.
his tractor's still sitting right where he left it.
Oh,
Yeah.
It sure is. So, so that's really what began the journey was that scripture. So, Sarah, she began to speak into that. We really began to kind of seek the Lord on it, and he said, everything that I ask you to do will be given to you. And so, we went through this journey of developing a relationship with vineyards, just understanding, what goes into a vineyard. How do you even plant,
it's very scientific.
It is, yeah.
Yeah, and then when you get to the winemaking,
Yes.
even
a
more
whole nother-
scientific.
Yeah.
Another
Yeah,
tier.
so we developed a relationship with this one vineyard who reached back out because when she said, and the Lord said, "It'll be given unto you," and I'm like, okay, well, how's it
All
going to
right.
be given?
Lord, how do you give a vineyard?
That's right.
So
Well, first you need vines.
exactly. Then that's where we started. And so I started
Yeah.
to reach out to different vineyards after I had really looked at, what's going to grow in this region, what's going to be the perfect vine. And there was one vineyard that reached back out and said, "You can glean from our vineyard," which basically
Really?
means after harvest and after the vines go dormant, they will basically clip back or prune back all of the branches
Which
of
they
those
would
vines.
anyway.
They would anyways, and typically they burn them. So they said, "You can come and get as much as you want,
Yeah,
and
root
if
'em.
you want to propagate, go through that process," and that's exactly what we did.
So how many vines?
We started with 1 acre, and we just planted another 3 acres.
Oh, my goodness.
So it ended up being about. We originally started. We propagated how many? Probably about. We started with about 2,500 sticks, maybe more than that, until
Yeah.
they would root. There's a percentage of those that will stay alive. Some of them won't.
Yeah,
So we
sure.
took it through a whole season and propagated them in my garage in Texas.
Down in Galveston.
Wow, which nice and humid is probably not a bad place to propagate.
They
vines,
grew
yeah.
very well. We got all kinds of grow lights and started them there.
It looked like literally a big pile of sticks in the back
Yeah,
of a
I'm
trailer when we went to pick it up. It
Yeah.
didn't look like it was anything that anybody
So
would
how
value.
is this going to grow?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we began to watch these leaves form,
Yeah.
and
has
that
been
was
exciting.
really
All
exciting.
the daughters is what we call them.
Yes.
All the daughters in
Yeah.
the garage growing under the grow lights.
Yeah, and you had alluded to a mutual friend, which is how we got connected, and that's Mia over at the prison. She works there, and
Yeah.
she has a great program there, and. We had been doing some volunteering and just going in and doing some worship at the prison here in Waco, and so we really felt connected to the daughters of the prison.
Really.
And so and that's what we called them. They were the Lord's daughters, people who have a heart and they have a life and they have a story just like we do. So as we were propagating those vines in our garage, we would go in and pray over every single one every night. And we would we were growing these daughters up, and we would pray over these vines, knowing that we were praying over the life process of the daughters that are sitting in the prison,
Right.
here in Central Texas.
Yeah, I think of the scripture, was I in prison and did you visit me? I mean,
Yeah.
the purity of what the Christian walk is
Yeah.
what you were doing.
Yes. So a lot of people go in maybe to the prison and maybe they volunteer and maybe they forget. But throughout that process, we talk a lot about in our friendship about going through process, progress, and harvest in our lives. We are living in a society that's very much, kind of instant
Yeah,
popcorn,
we want it now.
everything. Yep.
Popcorn, yeah.
Yeah. But
Not a
life
growing
is
vine. Very
Yeah.
different.
Yeah. So the vine really teaches us about that process and being really rooted and grounded in good soil and being able to pray over each one of the ladies or the daughters, as we call them, in the prisons is something that we still do.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. Oh, I mean, what a great, no, that's just so many great illustrations there. And I immediately think, the Lord used the reference to the vine. I'm the vine.
Yeah,
you
quite
know,
often.
yeah, right. Yeah, it's also there's so many things that we can draw those. You 3 years now since you planted the
Yes.
vineyard,
Yeah.
and now you have like a wedding venue. I mean, it's really kind of grown into an amazing.
yes, it's still kind of up and coming. The vines are growing. We just planted a whole new crop of 1,500 Save All Blanc, which from that same vineyard also was gifted to us because they could see the faith walk really that
Oh,
we
that's
have.
neat. Yeah.
And so we are planning our first wedding this summer at that vineyard. And as part of that, that vineyard offered us a opportunity to kind of come alongside them and take some of their equipment, acquire some of their equipment. And that's how we are beginning operations to open a winery here in Texas.
Okay, so where in Texas will that be?
Southeast Texas.
Yeah,
Right
no.
now, League City is
Oh,
where we
League City,
have,
yeah.
we've just entered into a lease in League City. Yeah, so we're very excited.
Oh, my
The
goodness.
equipment's already there waiting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, of course, I love to visit vineyards and, and see the whole process, talk to the winemaker, and, it is very scientific what goes into
It is, yeah.
and to do that. So your vineyards, though, back in Kentucky.
Yes.
Of course, I think of bourbon. I guess I think of Kentucky.
We have an
At least that's-
anointing.
But so is there a wine production in that part of the country? I mean, is it a good
Yeah, there are a few, and it's continuing to grow.
to grow?
Kentucky
Mhm.
actually
I mean,
has.
Texas has just exploded.
Oh,
with
yeah, for
wineries.
sure, yeah.
Down at Fredericksburg, it's crazy. Yeah,
There's definitely
Yeah.
certain types of vines that do better in
right.
certain
And
zones.
so that's what
So
right
we
because
studied
Texas,
that, yeah.
Tempranillo, the things that you find in Spain do well
Yes.
in Texas. So what
Very similarly.
is it kind of like Sonoma, California, or
Yeah.
how is it there in Kentucky?
Yeah,
I'm thinking
yeah.
of where it is.
The rolling hills are
Country-wise.
definitely remind me of Napa, the way that
For
the,
sure.
I
the
was,
hillsides
I
are.
would think so.
Yeah.
I would think so.
Yeah, we even share a
Of course,
line.
it's not dry like Napa is,
Yeah.
but
Yeah,
Right.
similarly.
Right, but I think it's the moisture from the coast that kind of comes in. It's what makes the wine so special there.
Yeah.
So do you have that same kind of?
For sure,
climate,
yeah.
you know,
Yeah, and
that's
the
really-
University of Kentucky has been doing studies for years. In fact, Kentucky has probably one of the little known facts, which is they were considered the birthplace of the commercial wine industry.
Really?
Yeah. There was a president, I think it was Thomas Jefferson, that came
Uh-huh.
and said, I really want to start a vineyard. And he was there in Kentucky, and they brought a
Oh,
guy
wait.
from, I think it was Spain, and came and tested it out. And that same vineyard is still there, still producing. It's considered one of the oldest in the country.
How
So
fascinating.
yeah, we've got Kentucky has a lot of limestone, and so the limestone is close to the surface,
Right.
and so it's one of the reasons that horses are bred there as well.
Right.
Great minerals for the bones, makes them strong, but limestone is light, and same thing with wine and spirits. So that's why Kentucky often leads the way. You'll see the
Right.
Kentucky bourbon and things like that. So yeah.
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 Well, that's interesting. I mean, that is just so amazing. So, so where do you see everything going in the next few years?
Well, we're definitely ready to scale. We've been growing our vineyard, and now we're opening the winery. And so,
Have you had a harvest yet?
no, we
You
have
haven't had
not.
any grapes
So
yet, okay.
our vines are 3 years old. It takes about 3 years.
Okay, so you're close.
We're close.
gonna see
yeah,
what
I
happens,
think this year we'll probably still let them root one more year and clip away, the fruit that would come, so
Right.
that they can really spend their energy growing and getting
Strong.
rooted. And then next year will be our first harvest. In the meantime, we have what's called bulk wine, where we actually have purchased barreled wine that we will be bottling at our location in
Okay.
Texas.
Okay.
So that
it's vintage, ready to go.
yeah, it's
single
vin-
origin type.
Yeah, so it's a 2022 vintage and a 2023 vintage, and then we have some single barrel selects, and so we're really ready to get off of the ground running, and we're really excited
And
about that.
these are Texas grapes, or where are these grapes from?
So these are Missouri grapes.
Oh, Missouri, yeah,
So,
Missouri. That's another.
yeah.
They've got quite a few vineyards.
Yes, yeah. So it'll
Beautiful
be
kind of rolling hills as well.
yeah,
a little.
so-
It's a similar
It's
climate to
further-
Kentucky.
Is it similar
Yes,
to? I was going
similar
to say, or I
zone.
thought maybe
Yeah.
Missouri might even be further north, but
yeah,
yeah,
very
I guess
similar.
that's right. Very similar.
Very similar, yeah. So, ours is a story of, faith. We're walking out faith day by day by day. So, where do we see ourselves? We're really walking out a story of recovery. I go back to the story of the widow, and the widow's mite in the Bible was that she was sowing everything that she could by faith to see a harvest come.
Right.
And so while, yes, we're people of business, and yes, we are going to make some money, we're walking out this process that is really just incredible, from learning about propagating. We've been making wine in our home, just testing out recipes now for 3 years, and really learning about the winemaking process and going through the trial and the error and failure and recovery.
Right.
And that's really
part of it.
That's really
Yeah.
part of what we're about. So we're excited to be able to bring that to Texas and, join the Grape Growers Association and all those great things. But to be able to walk out faith and, this story of recovery is really incredible. So the widow will have her mite and and recover, everything in that land.
Yeah.
Experience the perfect blend of exquisite craftsmanship and life-changing technology with Gevi. Every product is built with precision, featuring specialized parts that ensure durability, efficiency, and safety. We put every machine through 6,000 rigorous tests to guarantee long-lasting performance. With cutting-edge technology and a commitment to energy efficiency, Gevi makes your life easier, greener, and more convenient. Upgrade your everyday with Gevi. Visit us at gevi.com to discover more. That's gevi.com. Cleanse your body of accumulated toxins and embark on your wellness journey at your own pace. At Global Healing, we provide premium supplements to help your body heal naturally. Combine that with OrganicHemp.com's top quality CBD for ultimate balance. Start your healing journey today at GlobalHealing.com and OrganicHemp.com. Transform your workspace with Hanomi Ergonomics. From adjustable chairs to standing desks, we provide solutions for comfort and productivity, whether at home or in the office. Improve your posture, reduce strain, and work smarter. Visit us at hanomi.co today. That's HINOMI.co today. Experience the future of secure private cloud storage with Internex. Protect your files with end-to-end encryption, ensuring your data stays private and accessible only to you. Enjoy seamless, fast storage without compromising security. Visit Internex.com today and take control of your digital life. That's INTERNXT.com today. Calling all Marvel fans, get Marvel Unlimited and unlock over 30,000 comics featuring your favorite heroes and iconic stories, all available to read anytime, anywhere. Whether you're into classic tales or the latest adventures, there's something for everyone. Don't miss out. Head to marvel.com/unlimited today and start your Marvel journey now.
Well, you use that term,
Yep.
recover. There's another business that I
Yes.
want to talk about, I want to touch on.
Yeah.
And this is Project RE? Is that what
Project RE.
RE.
Mm-hmm.
And you kind of focused on areas maybe, and this is in the greater Houston area, that need rehabilitation.
Yes.
All the
You know,
words. like
re-
renew, rebuild.
The words were renovation,
Yeah.
renovation,
Yes,
a
yeah.
repurposing.
Yeah.
I mean, let's talk about that. I mean, that sounds like a
Yeah.
fascinating aspect. So
Yeah.
how old is this business?
Also about 3 years old.
Well, you haven't been busy or anything, have you?
We're very busy. Yeah, we're very busy. But we make time for a lot of good laughs and
I'm sure.
a lot of good life. But
Friendship helps.
friendship
Yeah.
helps.
Yeah, yeah.
So as I mentioned, Sarah, who's not with us today, she's an architect, aviation architect, and a commercial architect. And so she's been rebuilding Terminal D. So along the way, we've gotten our small business, women-owned business designation. And
What has that meant? What does it mean to have that designation?
it means, that we're historically underutilized
Okay.
business. When we get that designation, it means that we can partner with the federal government in different programs Sarah is she's a special projects architect, and so that's really what we're doing right now. So we're currently building one of the first of its kind in Houston, which is a dog park, also with a bar and tavern.
Really?
And so we're enjoying going through that permitting phase right now.
That'll be done this year.
That's one of our special projects that's up and coming very soon. So we're gonna break ground probably next month, we hope. Yeah, but so. It came from saying, we really can bring life to the unseen in all aspects. There are, Houston, just take Houston for instance, they've had an influx of people coming in from all over the world.
Houston, Dallas, these major metro areas are just, and Texas itself is just growing exponentially.
Yeah, so we've got to think of creative ways to not just rebuild, but to build efficiently, effectively, with having in mind, that there's got to be creative solutions for the population as well. So, we're working on some, Houston just went through approving a Chapter 42, which is a cottage design, which allows multiple units to be done on the same lot. And so we're going to pioneer the way, and I think that's going to be one
Austin,
of the...
I think, is looking into that as well.
Ways that foster community.
Yeah.
Yes, foster community. So that's one of the special projects that we have up and coming as well. We'll have some partnerships. We hope that we're working on that we'll be able to announce soon, but we're
kind
really...
of rethinking how people
City
live.
dwelling.
Exactly.
But they got to have someplace to live.
Exactly, yeah, and we want to do that in a way that is, outside of the box, but for the right reasons. And so a lot of times what we find is that people kind of know, what they want, but they can't really see the vision of it. And so our company specializes in designing, so we can design and really pull into this realm, if you will, that unseen vision and bring that into reality. And then we work with all of our consultants, be it engineers, other architects, structural, civil engineers, and really bring it to life. So, we have capacity right now to take on some additional projects. We're actually going to be working with a program called Opportunity U with Port of Houston to look at additional projects there.
Really?
So we're really excited. Yeah.
Oh my goodness, Anita, you've been kind of quiet over
I
there.
tend to be the quiet one.
But that's okay.
I was
Don't
gonna-
chime in.
I would just brag on my friends, but Sarah and Mandy both have such capacity for vision, and I love hanging out with them because I tend to be on the side of the capacity to help execute vision, and me sitting here kind of speaks to the team of what we are, that we're not all created the same. I do tend to be quieter. I may not be the one who comes up with the idea, but I'm the one who will get in the car and drive with her, across the state to go
That's
do
right.
a podcast.
Make sure it gets done.
And, so,
And by the way, Anita went with us. We personally dug 15... Three ladies. We personally dug 1,500 holes.
and put the vines in
for
the ground.
these new vines.
3 ladies.
Planted.
Now, I will say, Sarah loves a particular gardening tool called the pickaxe. And she
I was
can
going to say, if
use
it's that pleachy
pickaxe.
rock we've got here in Central Texas, I mean, that lime. Oh,
It was amazing to see her do over 4.5 days pickaxe 1,500 holes without stopping from sun up to sundown, and she's incredible.
Yeah.
And without her, we wouldn't have planted 1,500 vines without
Very
Sarah,
true.
for sure. But we were right there beside her, and we stayed out there with her until we got it done.
That's right.
So we each had our role. Even in that, we kind of learned. Mandy does this part best. Anita does this part best. Sarah's got that pickaxe, and we work like a team. Then we're able, to get something done that I never in my life imagined I would ever plant a vineyard.
that's right. You
I'm
weren't
over
imagining.
50. I'm like, what in the world am I doing here? But it's just been a joy because you're with friends. You're in community. You feel loved and seen and heard, and you have a place, and you know what your place is, and you're able to walk in that, enjoy, and not feel like you've got to be doing anything else but just what you're created to do.
That's right.
And then you look back and go like, wow.
What did we just do together?
What did we just do?
Yes.
When we were talking about, kind of my vision for this podcast has always been people who see a need. And I feel like the Lord places needs in folks' paths, and that person goes, well, something needs to happen. Something needs to be done. What can I do? What can I do? And then, fast forward a few years, and it's like a nationwide or global ministry, or it's
Yeah.
this huge thing that they would never have ever dreamed
Yeah.
it could become. And this is so
That's what
similar
it
to that
reminds
as
me
well.
of.
It's the
Yeah.
same
Yeah.
kind of story.
Yeah. Yeah.
We just keep saying yes.
We
You know,
keep
for,
saying
that's
yes.
just
Right.
every time they, they come forward with a new idea, I'm like, okay, well, if it's, together we can do what,
Yeah.
and we can say yes, and we can just see what happens. And
Yeah.
just like you described to me, I don't know what's going to happen from this in 5 or 10 years. But I'm just being faithful this year
Yeah.
Right.
to say yes,
To do what
and
I'm-
let it unfold,
Yeah.
and not have. And for me, I'm a person who likes to know what is the end result going to be.
Well, we all want that.
Right,
But
but,
we all want to know.
I don't know, but I knew when we put those vines in the ground that I had joy in the doing of it, and that if I'll be faithful to that, then let's see what unfolds next year and the
Yes.
next year.
Yes.
And they are growing and
Yes.
beautiful. And
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
that,
It's very exciting to see those leaves come out, and we're right now in the process of building their trellis, and
yeah. Now that's a whole other thing.
being
yeah.
able to train them, to grow
Right,
in the
because
right
they
way.
have to-
Yeah.
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 So
So we
it's easy
take
to
these
harvest.
stories,
Yeah.
when we do go back and we give back to the community, if we go into the prison, when we're talking with those ladies, they know, hey, we're praying for you because
Yeah.
these vines are before us, and we are committed to at least, if nothing else, praying for you, and putting your name before the Lord, and ensuring that we're connected to the community in that way. And I hope that we're able to say, yeah, in 5 years from now we have money to really come in and meet the needs of some of the needs, just like from the prison. There's an incredible need for when the ladies come out, they're looking for homes, they're looking for shelter, and we really hope to be able to take Project RE and be able to build some creative housing for those ladies that are coming out into and re-entry into the world, to ensure that they're successful and they're not going back into environments where
Exactly.
it was abusive
Positive
or traumatic.
community. Yeah.
Yeah, that so easily could happen. But yeah, and what's happening in the prisons with some of these programs is really so encouraging.
Yes,
It's great.
it really
Jesse,
is.
so how did you just decide one day, I think I want to go to Gatesville and volunteer at the prison, or
Oh
How
gosh.
did that happen?
how did that happen?
I remember we had a song that
Yeah.
we had sent to, so we also worship in our spare time. So we sing, and Anita plays the piano among many instruments. Sarah plays the drum and other things, and I try to sing. And so we were worshiping and sent a song to
We captured it and we just felt to bless
Yeah.
Mia with it, right? Or
somebody that was connected to Mia.
Oh, that's right.
And then
yeah.
that person said,
That
"Hey,
connect- yeah, it was
there's
the connector to Mia.
there's a program at the prison, and they need a team to go in and lead worship.
Yeah.
Would you
okay.
all be interested?"
right.
And we
So
said
the
yes.
song made the way for us.
The song made the way for us. Yeah, yeah. So that's how we went in. So we said yes. We went in and did that a couple of times.
And that's how we
And-
connected to Mia.
Yeah.
Then. Okay, that's right.
Yeah. Well, she's dynamic. I want to get her back on the. I've interviewed her in the past.
Yeah.
About other
Yeah.
things. She's just a delight.
Yeah,
and
she's
sure
great.
I'm so grateful that she put us together so that I could hear
Yeah.
your story and we could
Thank you.
Thank you
get
for
this
asking.
out. I like to end these little podcasts with a little questionnaire, similar to the one the late great James Lipton would use on Inside the Actors Studio. So I'm going to ask you different ones of you. Okay, we'll start with Anita. What is your favorite word?
Word. I think the word life. Actually, I have it written on the mug that I carry around with me all the time. So I like the word life because it has to do with everything that's green and growing and burgeoning.
Yeah. Like
There's
vines.
nourishing and watering, and it's not, for me, it's been, a word that sticks out in John's gospel when Jesus uses it a lot. And it really stands in stark contrast to a lot of religion and things that we want to do to try to connect with God and please God and worship God, but Jesus didn't come just to give us religion. He came to give us life. And that life isn't even just, standard, living. It's Zoe life. In the Greek, is that word is like divine, it is eternal life, but it's eternal in the sense of quality. It's, it's divine and glorious. And so that's when I see that word, it just pops out at me every time, because I
Yeah.
think of the word Zoe in Greek, which just means like eternal divine
I love
life.
that. I have friends who've named their kids that way. I never knew
Yeah.
the meaning of the name. That's beautiful.
No one's ever asked me that question. Thank you.
Okay, well, so then you get the other one. What's your least favorite word?
Oh, least favorite word. Let's see. Least favorite word. Gosh,
It's tricky, isn't it?
it is tricky. I don't know. Gosh, that's a interesting one. Least favorite word. I don't know. I'm completely
That's
blank. I
okay.
don't-
That's all right. I'm just thinking about the one that comes up periodically. In fact, the person I just interviewed right before you came, she's also a worship leader, and her least favorite word is slather.
Oh, how hilarious.
And I said, well, I've also heard moist. And she goes, oh, yes, I hate the word moist. So anyway.
That's funny.
Okay, so I'll ask you this one.
Yeah.
What turns you on then creatively, emotionally, or spiritually?
I tend to live my life knowing that my life is not my own. I was bought with a price. And so I really want to live my life so that it does give glory and honor to the name of the Lord. His name is great, greatly to be praised. And so whatever I do in this life, I really want it just to honor him. And I always want it to point. I know for a long time I had on my Facebook, whatever people see, I just hope that they see that something in my life pointed back to him. And, that's really what drives me.
Okay. What turns you off creatively, spiritually, or emotionally, Anita?
Yeah, I think it does probably go back a little bit to what I said at first. And when things become ritualistic or dead, and, like you're just walking through the motions.
Yeah.
I think at that point when I can't discern life and spirit and breath, what I'm doing, or like yesterday, for example, I was teaching something out of the Bible to a small group of friends at the gym, and afterwards I was reflecting, and I felt there was a moment early in our talk that there was no spirit or life or breath on what I was
kinda
sharing.
like-
Yeah, and it was like
You in there?
it was like the room was dead. You
Yeah,
could feel
yeah.
the deadness,
Right.
and I hate that. I hate
Yeah,
the
okay.
deadness, and
That's
I hate
interesting.
when you feel like there's not a flowing coming
Good.
from what you're doing.
never
and you're,
heard that
like in a
before. That's
slipstream,
good.
right?
Yeah.
When you're in the flow of something, and so to turn off the creativity
Yeah.
is to get out of that slipstream. That happened to me a lot when I was leading worship too. You could sense it was almost like you were in the river at times, and then sometimes it was like you found yourself on the shore
Just
again, and
stumbling
everything was
along the
very
bank,
dry,
yeah.
and you're like, how do I get back in the river again?
Yeah.
Because we don't want to be over here very long in the shoreline. This is dry.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
sometimes you're in that dry place and you just keep going in a straight line right into more dryness, and you're it's just a dead end. But I always try to find my way back into the river, whatever I'm doing, and that to me is a description of the spirit life.
Yeah.
And so
Okay, well, you're both musicians, so my next question, I'll go ahead and ask you this. What is your favorite sound?
that is really interesting. I think now that I've had more opportunity to be in nature, I think it would have to be that bubbling brook. Because it's a picture of everything I've been sharing this morning. That I love being in nature now, and there's something that restores in the sound of water that flows.
Yeah, for sure.
So what's your least favorite sound?
You keep giving her the least
I know.
question.
You get the bad one.
Well, I was telling her this morning, I was like, the most horrible sound was driving to her house this morning because we had a box of something in the back of the car,
Oh.
and it sounded like it was just
a screeching.
it was making this sound like an
window
old
hinge,
door or an
or-
old
yeah.
window on a
Oh.
hinge, and I'm like, how could it even be making that much sound? I'm just driving in a straight line. So anything that's out of order, I guess.
Screeching.
Okay, so you've done various things in your life, professionally, I'm sure. Is there a job or a profession that you would like to try? aside from planting a vineyard?
I am
And
trying
doing the
that right
building.
now.
That's right.
She's
Okay, that's
I am
what you're doing right now.
I'm coming out of a 20 plus year career as a healthcare executive. So I was a regional director in the healthcare industry, and I traveled all over the country for many years, city to city. And I feel like right now I really am in a place where I'm remaking the future for myself. And I've kind of come into this operator role, but using all of my business development talents to do that, and all of my operational talents to run something that's new. We're building something new. I'm becoming a winemaker and a
Yeah, I
vine
know.
dresser, and
Okay.
I am really enjoying the process of learning those new roles. Yep.
Good. Well, Anita, is there a job or profession you would not want to do? No thanks.
Now she gave me the not question.
That's right.
Yeah, I think after coming through many years of different kinds of work, being at a desk, I think I couldn't
Yeah,
do the desk job
really.
anymore. I definitely like the dynamic of every day being different. And
Yeah.
if I hang out with these two, Sarah and Mandy, I can be guaranteed.
Yeah.
I have to add that the latest addition to the new crazy idea is that we're thinking about getting some little sheep to graze. So let's add shepherd into the mix. We'll get to learn how to be a
Yeah,
shepherdess.
be a shepherdess. Yeah, yeah. I'm thinking something involving a pickaxe, but anyway, that's just
I'm pretty sure I could never swing
I'm
that
pretty
pickaxe.
sure there will be a bottle of wine that a pickaxe will
Some-
on the
definitely
label.
be on the
I
logo.
think it
It's got to
should
be on
be.
the logo.
I think that's awesome. Yeah. Okay. One last question. When you arrive at the pearly gates, what do you want to hear the Lord say?
Oh, well done, well done, good and faithful servant.
Yeah.
I've actually contemplated this question, and I'm really driven by the heroes of faith in Hebrews, and I love the. I would love to be like one of the ones, like the heroes of faith, like this one. Okay, this one you like you had a lot of faith, and not only did you have a lot of faith, but you also like walked that out. Yeah, yeah.
Enter into my rest is the other half
Yeah.
of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I really am excited.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one. Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's so much more
Yeah.
mystery behind that word rest than just, the good by and by,
Yeah, and the
I think-
R.I.P.
Yeah.
Rest in
Yeah.
peace.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a Sabbath rest that's going to happen on that day when
Yeah.
we see him
Yeah.
that we can't fathom right now.
Yeah.
But we can enter into it in part right now, which
Yeah.
I want to.
Well, how can folks learn more about your vineyard? Do you have like a website? Or
We
place?
do, yeah. It's salisburyvineyard.com, and you can find information there about both the vineyard and the winery. And then our design and build company we have is projectrehou.com. So it's like Project Re Houston, but
Yeah.
without the,
Yeah.
yeah.
Awesome. Well, you are delightful, and thank you so much
Thank
for
you.
making the
Thank
trip
you.
and being
Yeah.
here and just blessing us with our visit today. Thank you
Yes.
both.
Yeah, we
Thank you for
appreciate it.
having us. Thank you so
Thank you.
much.
And thank you for being with us for Central Texas Life. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Central Texas Life with Ann Harder is part of the Rogue Media family. Be sure to check out our other shows at roguemedianetwork.com. Please rate this show 5 stars on iTunes, Spotify, YouTube, or anywhere you get your podcasts. Join us again soon for more Central Texas Life with Ann Harder. This has been a Rogue Media Network production.